So you know that this morning was just a little taste in the outreach department of what I will share. Let's begin with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful to be here. Lord, it is a blessing to fellowship together. It's a blessing to talk about how we can serve you, how we can reach out to others, and I just pray that your Spirit would be with us here this afternoon. And we thank you for this time. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, so I have already shared with you that this is just one of the things that I enjoy most in life, sharing Jesus in fun and creative ways, and what a privilege to be able to share with others the ideas that the Lord has given us. So I told you this morning that this started as a deep desire to teach my children to love the Lord and to share with others, and it's just become a deep passion of mine. So we've been involved in all sorts of different things. We've tried to be intentional about sharing Jesus with others every day, right in our neighborhoods, our communities, and like he said when he introduced me, even strangers deserve to hear about Jesus. And this is what will change our world. And the great thing is this is what will change us as well. So the Bible says in Mark 16:15, go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. And I know that the thought of that is really scary to some people, right? When we think of that, we think of knocking on doors, or we think of giving sermons, or maybe giving Bible studies. But outreach is so much more than that. Preaching the gospel is so much more than just a sermon, a Bible study, or knocking on someone's door. And so today we're going to share with you some of the things that we have done, whether it be in our church groups, Pathfinders, personal ministries, adventures, things like that, or a lot of things we've done as a family, just in our own home. Sometimes, I've always homeschooled our kids, but sometimes we have schools near us associated with our churches, so we've done lots with that as well. The thing is that there are opportunities everywhere to share Jesus. You just have to look for them, and sometimes you get to create those opportunities. The first thing we're going to talk about is glow tracks. Does everybody know what a glow track is? I know that you share them. Does everybody know what a glow track is? Okay. Yeah, they're in the foyer. They're small little paper tracks that fold out, and they talk about Jesus. And so there's some for kids, actually, that you can share with your friends. There's lots for adults. There's some on health. They just a whole range of topics, from the gospel to hell and everything in between. So there's something for everyone. And we're starting here because about 13 years ago, we moved to a new church district, and there was a church school there. And we were trying to figure out, I was asked to be the Bible Labs leader. And if you don't know what Bible Labs is, in Michigan, in every Adventist school, you have Bible class. And just like you have anatomy and physiology, and then you have the anatomy and physiology lab, Bible Labs is just the hands-on portion, the service portion of Bible class. And so, because of this quote, which I'm going to read in a minute, we decided we wanted to make sharing glow tracks part of what we did. It says, if there is one work more important than another, it is that of getting our publications before the public, thus leading them to search the scriptures. So that's the whole point, to lead them to Jesus. And so with this whole idea in mind, the Lord started giving me ideas of things that we could do to get glow tracks out more easily. And so we found that attaching some little item to a glow track made it easier for the children, and really especially easier for the adults. And it also made it easier for the people to accept something. And so the Lord started just giving us lots of ideas. And I think if you were here the last couple of weeks, you saw a video probably promoting this whole event. And this is the first glow track pack that we ever put together. It has a red mint in it. It says, you are worth a mint to Jesus, and then there's a glow track in it. And were you all here? Have you all seen the video? Did you hear the story that goes with it? Did anybody not hear the story that went with this about the restaurant? Okay, I'm going to tell it briefly. There was a few people. So we had this, my husband and I were eating in a restaurant, and we left this with our tip. I went into the bathroom, and when I came out, our server and a friend of hers, a coworker, rushed up to me, and they're like, do you have any more of these? And they were they're not holding up the candy, they were holding up the glow tracks. And so they were searching for something more. And so thankfully I did. I had glow tracks in my purse, so I pulled them out and fanned them out in front of me, and they got to choose the ones that they wanted. But that just imprinted in my heart and my mind that, these little objects are wonderful, but there are people out there searching for something better, searching for what we have, and it's our opportunity, it's our privilege and our responsibility to share Jesus with them. And this made it so fun and so easy. I left it with the tip as a thank you, and they saw what I left, and they wanted more. So this was the first one. Most of these glow tracks have a little card with a saying on it, a little object. Sometimes it's candy or food, sometimes it's not. And then most of them are in a little 4x5 reclosable baggie, and then there's a tract inside. And it was really neat. One of the first times we did this at one of our churches, 65-year-old lady comes back after handing them out in town. She was giddy, 65 years old. She was giddy with excitement because it was so easy to hand it out to someone. She said it's so easy, they love to receive it. So it was a lot of fun, and it made it easier for others to give. The next one we're going to share with you, Elijah's actually going to come up and share with you. We did a week of prayer at an Adventist school not long ago, and he's going to tell you what we did with these apple cider packets. Obviously, you don't want to share them in July or August. It's kind of hot. But in November, we did this.
So, yes, last school year, my mom did an outreach week of prayer at an Adventist school. She had worships every morning and shared lots of outreach ideas and stories. But we also did outreach. And one of my favorite was the apple cider glow packs. An apple cider glow pack is an apple cider packet, a glow tract, and a card that says, "Feel the warmth of God's love." We stapled hundreds of these together, and all 25 of us went out into the community to share them with people. We met people in lots of in parking lots, on sidewalks, in their cars. We just said, "We're sharing apple cider in the community. We hope you enjoy this gift." And we smiled big. And we handed it
That's
right
the key.
to them. Everyone loved it, and one lady was exclaiming with amazement over and over again. And when we were leaving, we said, "Have a nice day," and she said, "I just did." The pastor also saw later that the Cadillac Chamber of Commerce had posted on Facebook about what a great thing these kids were doing in the community, spreading warmth and cheer, and they thanked the church for being involved in the community.
This is a group of, there were 25 or 30 of us. We just had a lot of fun. We split into groups, and we covered the whole downtown area. It was a small town, of course. Oh, yeah, and then there's a couple more things we've done with apple cider he's going to tell you about.
So we also shared these in one of our church communities last Christmas. We caroled at a nursing home. Then we also caroled at the Hardee's drive-thru. We sang, and we also shared apple cider glow packs with the people in the drive-thru. They absolutely loved it. They would give us a thumbs up when they rolled past us caroling.
So I don't know if you can picture that, but we're at the drive-thru. So we're standing right where the people pick up their food at the window, singing carols, and then the kids are going down the long line of cars that are about to come and pick up their food. People really loved it. So it was neat to pass them out that way. Just before COVID, when COVID hit, we were like, we really need to have a health tract to share health with people, because when there's an opportunity, you got to jump on it. So this one, being health, there's a Bible verse. On the back side of it, there were some kind of like New Start ideas of how to boost your health, plus the glow track. Those are 2 little vitamin C drops. And so we went around, went to the police station, was one of the places we left them, and the ladies at the front were so excited. They took enough for everybody, all the officers and all the office workers and everybody in their department. And then we also went to Walmart, and we were sharing them. We were just walking around Walmart, probably had to buy some things too, but anybody that worked there we would just thank them for what they were doing and let them know we hope they stayed healthy and give them this. And the last man I talked to, he's just like, what did he say? He's like, if it weren't for this whole pandemic thing, I'd hug you. He just loved it and thought it was the coolest thing. So that was fun. And then we have blood drives. Maybe you probably have them around here. And they always, in our small town, they give away some sort of a snack. And so our church had the opportunity to put together apples. It says you are the apple of God's eye, and it has an immune health track under that. And then also oranges. Orange you glad Jesus loves you. And it has a tract under there. And so people got to take those home after they gave blood. And so that was fun. Another glow track that I love. We had an outreach Sabbath one day, and our whole purpose was to go out into the community and pray with people. So it was very much focused on a spiritual thing. And sometimes, when you're going for a directly spiritual thing, you kind of wonder how they'll respond. I was so pleasantly surprised by this. We took these clothespins, and the card says, "Hang your troubles on the Lord." And there's a Bible or a glow track in there. And we would walk up to the doors, and I would just say, "We're in the neighborhood sharing clothespins." And I would just pause, just a very brief pause, because they kind of get this funny look on their face, because, why are you sharing clothespins in the community? But then I would go on and say, because they're just a little reminder that we can hang our troubles on Jesus. And they would kind of maybe give a smile or a laugh. And really, people were so receptive to this. And so then we would just let them know we were out in the community praying with people. Do you have any specific prayer requests that we can pray about for you? And so a lot of times we would pray with them right there. Well, this day, will you get the water, Elijah? This day I met a 14-year-old girl named Jade. And she said to me after I met her, she said, "I don't know if you know this, but this is a foster home. And I live here not with my parents." She shared with me how her mother had abandoned her when she was like 6 months old. And her father had just left her on the streets 6 months before I was meeting her that day. And so I had no idea that it was, but I was able to just talk with her. She said to me, with tears in her eyes, she said, "This is just what I needed to hear about the being able to hang your troubles on the Lord." And so I talked with her. At one point, her foster parent came to the door and found out what we were doing, that we were talking. He said, "I'll just leave you to talk." And so we just had a really nice conversation, and we were able to pray with her. My daughter was there with me at that time, and it just reminded me, there are so many hurting people in this world. Some of them we're going to bump into, but some of them we have to go, and we have to knock on their door, and we have to reach them where they are. And this precious young lady, I just pray that this was a seed planted for eternity. We're going to talk about a few different areas where we can reach out and reach people. The first, our neighbors, are those the closest to us. And so right here, in my life today, it says, "Visit those who live near you, and by sympathy and kindness try to reach their hearts. Visit the sick and suffering and show a kindly interest in them. If possible, do something to make them more comfortable. Through this means you can reach their hearts and speak a word for Christ. Eternity alone will reveal how far-reaching such a line of labor can be." And this is something that you must remember. Sometimes, especially when it comes to the seed sowing part of witnessing and evangelism, we think, I'm not making a difference. I haven't seen any baptisms. I can't tell that I'm doing anything for the Lord. But that's not our job. Our job is just to sow seeds, to share the love of Jesus. And one day, we are going to find out how far-reaching our line of labor was for the Lord. So we can't worry about that now. We just need to be about our Father's business. So there are a lot of things that we can do for our neighbors. You guys could come up with lots and lots of things. So I'm just going to tell you about a few things we've done. This is a loaf of bread. One of the things we do in our home is bake and cook. Food is a big deal, and so we like to share it. And in one of the communities that we've lived in, we always take walks, but in this one it was a subdivision. So we would walk around and we would see when homes went up for sale and when that home sold. And so we decided we would bake a loaf of bread. We put a little tag on here, "Welcome to the neighborhood," and on the back of it, it had our name and phone numbers and address so that if they needed anything. So when we saw that a home sold and people had moved in, we would go we'd go and welcome them, and we'd have a chance to talk with them. And it was so nice because we weren't just meeting the people right in our little cluster of homes. We were being able to meet people far, and we had some really neat experiences, people we never would have met. And things we never would have learned had we not done that. And so it's always good to reach out in a friendly manner and meet your neighbors. Another thing that we like to do is celebrate national holidays. These cookies represent National Homemade Cookie Day. October 1 is National Homemade Cookie Day, and we were in another neighborhood and we wanted to meet the neighbors, and so we made cookies. This was just before October. And so we made these cookies on October 1. We went and we met some of our neighbors. We told them about National Homemade Cookie Day, and we just had a really nice time getting to meet them and talk with them and learn about them. And so there are lots, you're going to hear throughout this, there are lots and lots of national days. I actually read this morning, I learned that OK is a twin, and today is National Twin Day. So anyways, whatever that's worth. I know. Are there lots? There you go. If you're a twin, celebrate your twin. But there's lots and lots. So all you have to do is Google August national days or whatever, and you'll find lots. I mean, some you don't want anything to do with, but there are so many that are fun, just another fun way to come up with a way to share Jesus. So that's fun. This is another time we went. This was it was during COVID, and we weren't in Michigan. I don't know how it was here, but we weren't supposed to be around people. We were supposed to stay home. But it was Easter, and we wanted to share something with our neighbors who were stuck at home as well. So we made up these bags, and they had a newsletter. And in that newsletter, there was a recipe there. It told them about your story hour. So if they had kids, they could listen to stories. It told about Strong Tower Radio. We told about the Hope Awakens seminar that was starting online, the balls for kids, and the He is Risen is from Desire of Ages. And so we didn't talk to many people. We hung them on their doors, but there were a few people out, and we got to share with them and talk with them about what we were doing. So it was just something to help them use their time at home for God's glory and to give them a little bit of encouragement. And another thing we've done for our neighbors, applesauce, kind of like this. Just tie it up with string. We put a little tag on the top. You can see a few of the tags that we have. This one just said Happy New Year's because I have lots of neighbors actually around me who are Jehovah's Witness, so they don't celebrate Christmas. So I couldn't take them something for Christmas, really. But New Year's is just, the beginning of another year. So you kind of have to think about who your neighbors are and what they're like and what might reach them. So we went around to all of our neighbors taking applesauce. We can a lot. And so it's usually not something that people are allergic to. And so we went, and these people knew us because they knew us for two things when we went around. They knew us because we take a walk down the street, and they knew us because earlier in the COVID season, we had sent a letter out to all of our neighbors, just letting them know if there's anything we could do for them, if we could pick something up from the store, or if they wanted prayer, which we had somebody call for prayer. Anyways, we had sent that letter out. So it was just a nice way to connect with them again. Here's us. Because I have 3 children. They're older than that now. But anyways, in the winter of the Upper Peninsula, we went out sharing applesauce. And then, just so you know, National Good Neighbor Day is September 28th. So you have a couple of months to think about what you will do to be a good neighbor. I mean, the options are endless. You can think of something to do to be a good neighbor. Now we're going to talk about the community. There are just lots of ways. Something that I have found a few years ago is that people actually read the shirts that you wear. So I was like, man, so make sure you're wearing a good shirt. I was like, I've got to get some shirts that mean something. And so I bought this shirt, How Can I Pray For You Today? And the first time I wore it was to a 4th of July parade. And this is the lady that I first prayed with, and she's not a member of our church yet, and I was just one of the seeds planted, but I got the opportunity to pray with her and to talk about what prayer is, and it was just a huge blessing. She's studying now. She's got a lot of things that the Lord is helping her with, so we pray that one day she is a member as well, but she's learning to love the Lord. And she's learning to pray and to know Him. And whenever I wear this shirt, I also carry these glow tracks, Talking with God, so that I can share it with them. The other day, I was wearing a shirt that said blessed, and I was in Meyer. And I was going into the bathroom, she's like, oh, it says John 1:14 under the blessed part. She's like, what is that Bible verse? Anyway, so I showed her, went into the bathroom, came back out. She's like, I've read it already. That's such a good verse. So you guys, you can witness just by wearing something of eternal value. So never underestimate, but make sure you're wearing something good. All right, so this is one of our most loved glow track ideas, at least in Michigan. We've done it in a few places where we've been. So we have these bananas. This time we put health tracks underneath, and then we had this heart health card. It has a Bible verse that told that it was a project of the school that we were working with. And we went all over town. This is our wagon. This is the very first time we did it. Elijah is the little tiny one in the front holding up the banana. So you can see that's a long time ago. And that one had 100. I went to the store, and the first time I got 100 bananas. And just mounds and mounds of bananas. People would look at me, but it didn't matter. Anyways, we went up from that and did lots more. But we would go in and out of stores and do parking lots, just anybody we would see. And the kids would hold their bananas, and I always taught them, you smile, you look people in the eye, whatever you have to say, but then with the bananas, they would say, have a happy, healthy day. And like nobody, like maybe one person I can remember of everybody turned down the banana. So people, from a kid, right, but even me, they'll even take bananas from me, and I'm not as cute as them, so it works. And so people loved this. One of the doctors that went to our church would hear about us. Oh, your kids were out passing bananas today. And when we went door to door for something else, they would be like, oh, you're the banana people. So, our name should be out there in the community, and it should be out there for something good. So this was such a neat thing that we decided we were involved in 4th of July parades. And so one year we decided to have a banana float. So have a happy, healthy day, because that's what they were all used to hearing. Can you even guess how many bananas are on that float? Not quite. Nobody ever guesses it, but about half that much. It was about 2,300 bananas that we strung up with everything. I don't even remember what we had on there, but anyways, so it was quite the thing. It was really fun. Then another year, he mentioned doing apple cider at an outreach week of prayer. One time we did bananas out of week of prayer, and this girl in the blue teal jacket, she has my favorite story ever. She went into a bank, and there was a man across the room at the copy machine. So she walked up to him, and she said what she had to say, and she smiled, and she handed him the banana. And he said, you will never believe this. Just this morning, my wife was yelling at me, take a banana for breakfast. And he's like, I don't have time. He said, she will never believe that my banana showed up at work today. God works in mysterious ways. So you never know what you're going to be doing for him when you wake up in the morning. Many of you have probably been to the nursing home. We had a family who lost his wife, and he didn't want to just get rid of the flowers. He didn't want them to just sit at home and die. So he donated them to the Pathfinder and Adventure Clubs, and we always went to the nursing home once a month to sing and interact with them. And so he gave us all the flowers, and we put them into individual vases. We put a little tag on them that said it was in honor of her, and we went into all the rooms at the nursing home, and we left flowers with all the patients there. And it just brought cheer, animals and flowers and kids. That's what nursing home residents love. So they really enjoyed that we took the flowers to them. Another thing that we've done in the community is roadside cleanup, and that probably doesn't sound like such a fun thing to do, but in Michigan, I haven't really, maybe it's here too, I don't know, there's signs, that say that this person or this family or this group maintains a highway. And so anyways, we, in one of our churches, the Pathfinder group, kept up with that. You have to be 12 years old. It takes a few people to do it. But it's really good, and I tell you, it will change. If you've ever littered before, you will never litter again when you have to clean up the side of the road when other people are littering. So it's a good thing for us to be involved in keeping the earth clean. And I know in some places, there's even nature centers that will let you just adopt a trail or something like that to keep clean. So it's a good thing to be involved in. Now, sometimes you have to keep your eyes open for opportunities. Here's an empty bookshelf. I went into the health department for something, and I just happened to notice that there are no books on that bookshelf. And if people come in there and they wait with their kids, there would be nothing for them to look through. And so I asked the ladies at the front desk if I could bring them some books for their bookshelf, and this is what it ended up like after I came back, because I wanted there to be, they're not all Christian books, but there's a few values, morals, and Christianity in some of those books. And so that was just a small place that I found in our community that I could make a difference. Now, where I live, this doesn't work very well because I don't have homeless people. But in big communities like you live in, or work in, or are surrounded by, you have lots of homeless people. And I found that it's not best to give them money because you don't know what they'll do with it. But if you make what we call blessing bags, and you could tell these are not anything special, these are Ziploc bags, and depending on where you live, what you think the need is, depending on what the season is, we put all sorts of different things. I think we put trail mix and granola bars, maybe an applesauce. You can get soups that are contained. You can put water. If it's winter, you can put socks or a hat or a scarf. We always put glow tracks and things like that. Kleenex, chapstick, a comb, lots of different things. And then you leave these in your car and you have them ready for when you come to someplace and you're stopped and there's homeless people asking for things. You can give these to them and it will be a blessing to them without giving them money. Another glow track idea that we've done in our communities, actually this went with, our Pathfinder group had a glow-a-thon. They were raising money, I don't even remember what for, maybe a camping trip instead of going to Oshkosh last time, we went on a week-long camping trip. And so one of the things we did was a glow-a-thon, and so the idea was, just like a bike-a-thon or anything else, you're raising money, but we were asking people to pledge money for the amount of glow tracks that we would give out. And actually people were excited too, because not everyone can go out and hand these things out, but they were happy to support the distribution of these types of things. So we put together 480. This says, another raisin to smile. There's a little box of raisins on the back. On the back, there's health benefits of smiling, and then that mindset glow track. We put together 480 of these. We went out into the community. We spread them all over. Here's our group that day. We went into, this is Home Depot, in and out of those businesses, even the big ones. We kind of spread out and then just left when we were all done. Parking lots, everyone we saw. This is a drive-through coffee place. So the girls were handing them out to the people there. Anyways, when you have a group, it's so much fun. The kids love to do it together, and it makes it easier for the adults, because I know that it's harder for adults to get out there and do this than it is for kids. But it's so much fun to go as a group, even as an adult, and to share these things with people. Now, another thing that we did, this was the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Not only do we have the regular Michigan camp meeting, but we also have the Upper Peninsula camp meeting. It's much smaller. And one year, the youth department, they were studying the talents. And so they studied the talents, and then the leader said, I'm going to give you 3 things. I'm going to give you a driver, which I got to be a driver for this group. It was so much fun. They got $50, and they got the whole day. And their whole goal was to use their talents to bless the town of Iron Mountain, which was not far from where the camp meeting is. So these girls and I decided, that they wanted to grow their money. So they went and talked to people at their trailers and campers. They also waited for one of the meetings to disperse. They went in and they talked to all the people, told them what their goal was, said, we're going to bless the Iron Mountain community. We're collecting money. We're trying to grow our money. So they were able to grow their money from $50 to $533. So then they have all this money. Now, what in the world are we going to do in a community that we really don't know? So We prayed about it and we talked about it on our way to town. And when we got there, we thought, well, let's stop at the state police department is what we saw first. So we thought we'd go in there and see if they know anything that we should do, if there's any place in town that needs help, or just to get some ideas. So this is Gino. He was so great. He gave us some ideas, and one of them was the domestic abuse and sexual assault center. It's called the Caring House. And so first we stopped by to talk to the lady to see what they needed. So she gave us a whole list of things. So then we went to Walmart, and you can see there's one huge cart, and we actually filled 2 huge carts full of non-perishable items, paperware for eating and toilet paper and things like that, hygiene products, just all sorts of things that we could think of and that she had given us that would be a blessing to that, cleaning supplies even. So here's my little Prius, all stuffed full of things. And when we got back to the Caring House, the lady was just in tears. We had so many things. They live off of donations. They need the help of your family, of your church, to be able to serve the people in their communities. And so she was just in tears and just so thankful that we had stopped by with those donations. While we were at Walmart, we had also picked up cookies and teddy bears. The teddy bears were because, here, let me show you. Well, there's the cookies. It has a blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. These were for the police station, the officers there, just to thank them for them serving in their community, keeping us safe and all of that. And then we also know that when officers go, and sometimes they have to take children out of their homes, and that's a very difficult situation. So we got the teddy bears to leave with the police station so that they could give to the children that whenever that situation came up. So we still had money left after this. So we thought, what in the world are we going to do? So the girls came up with the idea to stop at an auto body shop, walk into the office, and ask if there was anybody who needed help paying their bill. And so we did that. There were 2 people in the office, and first they were like, what? I mean, who does that? And so they were just confused by it. We explained again what we were doing. So they talked among themselves, and they're like, yes, Mary needs help. She's on disability. She's been saving for a $600 car part, and she would really be blessed by this. They said she'd been saving, this was September, and she'd been saving since February or March. So it had been a long time. And so we gave the last $202 that we had towards her car part, and they said that at that point her bill would be paid and she would be able to get her car part. So, the only part we missed out on was Mary's reaction. But I can imagine that the Lord is going to replay it for us in heaven, and it will be such a joy to see. But the other neat thing about it, too, is the young man, he was probably about 35, he asked where we were from and why we were doing this. And so we shared with him about Camp Segola, and he said, I went to Camp Segola for many years when I was a kid. And he started reminiscing about the memories that he had had at this Seventh-day Adventist youth camp, and just thought it was so neat that we were out in the community doing something special like this for other people. So it had been 30 years or 25 years probably before that he had been at that camp, and it was neat to bring back up those memories and reminisce with him about his time there. Another thing that we have done in our community, I heard you guys just had a church booth, and I heard it went well, and I just think that is so neat. We've had a few different church booths. This one was for Engineers Day in Sault Ste. Marie. It has to do with the locks there, the engineering. Our goal was to invite people to Vacation Bible School, and so we found that if you target the kids, it brings in the adults too. And so we had these cornhole game, and it really brought people in. We had lots of other literature and stuff like that too, but the biggest draw was the cornhole, and people loved playing that, especially the kids, and then we would get a chance to talk with the adults. And we met this family there that we are still in contact with. It was a mom and her kids who stopped by. Her kids were playing cornhole. I was talking to her, and she said, well, what church are you from? I was like, well, the little white church on the hill, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She's like, oh, I know where that is, but you're never there. I said, well, we are there. It's just that we go to church on Saturday. She's like, oh, I was just reading about how Sabbath is actually Saturday and not Sunday. She said, I've been really meaning to ask my pastor about that. And so then she started talking about the mark of the beast and all sorts of other things. I was like, whoa, it's like you need a great controversy. So I took her name, because we didn't have one there, and I went and visited her again. Also, her kids came to Vacation Bible School all that week. We went and picked them up and brought them. Her kids joined Pathfinders, and they're studying the Bible right now. So you just never know who you're going to come in contact with. You never know the experience, but God brings truth seekers to truth bearers. And so we have to be ready. This is another one. This was actually just this last July. We're having a health class in one of our communities, and so at their 4th of July festivities, we wanted to have a booth about health. So we kind of themed it around living the abundant life, and we had a table on physical, mental, and spiritual health. So here's our mental health. There's glow tracks there, there's bubbles for kids, there's some mental activities. Then we also had those balloons that are blown up. And people were able to write down their stresses and their worries and their challenges on this balloon, and then they got to pop them, kind of just symbolizing, releasing, getting rid of the stress and the mental anxiety that so many of us have. It was hilarious to watch people pop those balloons. Some little kid wrote that their mom was their stress, that all sorts of things. Yeah, sister. Anyways, but they would take the little pin, man, and they would jab that balloon. So it was kind of fun to watch. Here's our physical health table. I made a board, Rethink Your Drink, and so it showed them the different drinks from Coca-Cola products to sweet tea and energy drinks, and then it had a little baggie of sugar, how many teaspoons of sugar are actually they can find in that drink. So we had some other health magazines. We had to sign up for our health class if they wanted more information. The water was a huge hit as well because it was so hot that day. And so that drew a lot of people as well. And then here's our spiritual table. We had kind of like a Jeopardy game. Some people were a little scared of it, but there were some people who were really into it. And for every 100 points they got to enter their name into a drawing. And so then we had 8 things that we did a drawing for and gave them away. So they could put prayer requests in the little box that's on that table. Anyways, it was a really neat time. We also had these bags. They had mental, physical, and spiritual health items inside the bag, and not everyone came in, so we were out there handing things to people as well. And then we started taking the bubbles out, and as we were able to give bubbles to the kids, we're like, here, this is a gift for you as well, to the adults. So we handed out, I think, almost around 300 bubbles and about 400 of the bags with the materials inside. And just had a really good time. We made some really neat connections. One guy even, I gave him the bag, is all I did. Hardly talked to him, but for like 30 seconds. He walks away, and then all of a sudden he turns down, he's like, Loma Linda, right? I was like, how do you even know that? But he came back and we talked, and he's into triathlons, is I think what he was training for. And so we just gave him a whole lot more information, and he lived in Kansas City, so I don't even ever get to see him again probably, but anyways, it was a really neat connection. We met non-Adventists non-Adventists who used to be Adventists, and just really great connections. So it's good to be out in your community like you're doing, making connections with people and inviting them to know Jesus. So I just want to urge you to get out into your communities, to connect with people, to love people, to help people, to pray with people. People need prayer, and they're realizing it. We need to be sharing hope. One particular night, this is a picture from that night, my husband and I went out in one of our church communities for just 45 minutes. And the amount of people that we talked to and that we prayed with over some serious issue, whether it was a husband with cancer or divorce, just all sorts of issues. This was during COVID. People were so eager to pray. They were so eager to talk with us. And so we need to be out there sharing hope, sharing encouragement, praying with people, offering what we can. We had bags that day that just said, hello, friend, we know that we live in, I don't even remember what it said, but there's bags up here you can look at. It was just letting them know we had a gift for them to offer encouragement and hope during the times we were living through. On the back, you can see there was a health glow track and a Bible story pamphlet. In In Ministry of Healing, it says, Christ's method alone will give true success in reaching the people. The Savior mingled with people as one who desired their good. He showed sympathy for them, ministered to their needs, and won their confidence. Then he invited them, follow me. And we need to come close to the people by personal effort. If we would give less time to sermonizing and more time to personal ministry, greater results would be seen. The poor are to be relieved, the sick cared for, the sorrowing and the bereaved comforted, the ignorant instructed, and the inexperienced counseled. We are to weep with those who weep and rejoice with those who rejoice, accompanied by the power of persuasion, the power of prayer, the power of the love of God. This work will not, cannot be without fruit. We will see God work if we are willing to work. All right, I threw this in here. Sometimes I share this, sometimes I don't, but I just want to put a plug in here for canvassing. Do you know what canvassing is? Going door to door. Let me show you first some of the books. What we have in Michigan are 10-week programs, and they share MAGA books. They're called MAGA books because they're magazine size, but they're books. And like that Jesus one is The Desire of Ages. There's The Great Controversy. There's books for kids. There's health books. There's all sorts of books that they go share. For 10 weeks, they go door to door sharing about Jesus. And it also is a good way for them to earn money because half of what they earn goes to help with their education. And so that's what they tell it there. Here's my daughter. She did it for 3 years, going door to door with a smile on her face. And let me tell you, the experiences that they have are life-changing. The people that they meet, the people that they come in contact with, they're praying with people. They're also struggling out there, though, because people reject them and because they haven't met anyone who is friendly in such a long time. These are some of my son is the young man in that picture, and that's him with some of his friends canvassing this summer. This is their very last week coming up in the 10-week program that they've done. And I just wanted to share one story with you, but now I have to go and find it because it went away. Actually, you know what? I'll just do it from here. Okay, he says, as we walked up to this house, right away I noticed in the driveway was a Corvette and a red Mustang, both very new cars, which I admired on the way to the door. As I knocked, a pretty young guy answered the door, probably in his early 20s. I shared the book Habits That Heal, which is adapted Ministry of Healings, with him, and then The Great Controversy. At that point, I closed and told him how much they were for the set. He said, wait, what's the set? So I shared that the donation price I had mentioned was the 2 books in his hand, but that I could show him some other books that I had. So he said, yeah, show me those books, he responded. I showed him the other books in my hand and briefed him on the books in my bag. At that point, he had 5 books in his hands, and from those he picked out Peace Above the Storm, which is Steps to Christ, and The Great Controversy. Holding up the Peace Above the Storm, he asked, so, what is this one about again? Is this one religious? And in my heart, there was a little disappointment and trepidation because I felt like this young guy wasn't really going to be interested if I told him that it was religious. But I proceeded to tell him that it was religious and how it would help him get to know Jesus better as a friend and how it had helped me. After going over the books in his hand, he again picked up the Peace Above the Storm and The Great Controversy. I was excited and relieved that he did want the religious books. I shared about the donation prices and mentioned that if he gave just a little bit more, I could actually leave him with this book also. It was called The Answer Book, and it just answers the most commonly questions in the Bible. So it's basically 3 for the price of 2, I stated. He said, okay, let me go get some money. I want to do cash if I can. He didn't find anything in the house, so he decided to go look in his truck. I followed him a little ways, and as he was looking, I started remarking about the cars in the driveway. Hey, these are really cool cars. We had a great conversation about the cars and how he'd just gotten the Corvette a few days before. He got in the car and revved the engine for me. It was really awesome. And I even got a video of him revving the engine. But back to the story, we went back to the door and finished up with the books and the money that he was going to give. At the end, my leader walked up and we offered to pray with him. He accepted, and then after the prayer, he said, you know, this is really a funny coincidence. Just 2 weeks ago, I started listening to the Bible for the first time. I grew up Orthodox, and I've known that I believe in something, but I've really never known what I believed in. So I started listening to the Bible. And just this morning, I felt like something was going to happen today. Just a sense, and I really didn't know what it was, but now here you are. I responded by affirming how great God's timing is. He took down all our local church information and was very excited about the books. God's timing is really impeccable, and I was reminded to never judge what someone will be interested in by how old they are or how they look. God wants to draw each one of us to Him. And that's just one example of the amazing experiences that Dylan and as all the other young people have had this summer as they have served the Lord. My daughter met somebody last summer, which is a long story, so that's why I didn't include it in this, but she met her in a parking lot. She was in tears. She'd been searching for the Lord on drugs and all sorts of things. She came to church the next week, and she hasn't stopped coming since. That's why we serve the Lord. That's why we go door to door. Canvassing, if you're a young person, 16 to 25, I think it is, you should canvass. It is life-changing. It will change the people around you, but most importantly, it will change you, and you will know God better than you've ever experienced Him before. I need some water. Hold on. This is another plug for youth, because it's changed my kids' lives. Adventist Youth on a Mission is an organization that strives to provide Adventist youth and teens with opportunities for ministry in their local churches and communities. They believe that as Adventist young people, they've been given a special calling to proclaim the everlasting gospel in the context of the three angels' messages to the entire world so that Jesus will come again soon. AYM exists to respond to this call. AYM is run by young people ages 12 to 20 and is for young people ages 12 to 20. They and their families are invited too. Most of the chapters, so it's a national thing, and actually there's a chapter in Ontario, but there's chapters all over the United States. There's one in Michigan that my children helped to start. There's one right here in Ohio too. They meet at West Salem Mission. They have two retreats a year. The young people are the board. They plan everything. They do all the speaking. They do all the planning of the outreach. They have recreation and social time. The families are all together. It's an amazing time for young people to be inspired and to inspire others to serve the Lord. So one of the outreaches that we did one time, there is a ministry in that area called the Third Meal. And basically, it's an organization that makes sack suppers for children, so they deliver them to the schools. And they put all these meals in these paper bags, and so they love them when the bags are decorated. And so one of the things we did was just decorate those bags, and we could, with this organization, it could even be spiritual things, so that was kind of fun. This is them just decorating the bags. And another one, Elijah is going to come up and share with you about, they've done leaf raking. We actually did, just like UP Camp Meeting, they gave all the groups $50 and they got to go out and do things in the community. So they've had a lot of fun. Another one they did once had to do with a dog run for the community.
So the other option for outreach was laying sod for a dog park. Before we left, we looked at the radar and it was supposed to rain, but we ended up going, and I'll tell you what happened with that at the end. We would grab big rolls of sod from a pallet and unroll them on the ground. And yeah.
It's Elijah.
They were pretty heavy. It was hard work.
It was a big spot that they needed this grass.
We got a lot of work done in a short amount of time. There were a lot of us helping. We ended up getting the whole dog park done. And it was such a blessing to us and the people in charge, because the city had run out of funds to pay laborers, and we made a huge impact, and the man in charge asked the kids to write up an article on it and send him the pictures so he could put it in the newspaper. Right as we were leaving, it started to rain.
Yep.
Not only were we able to help them out, but God also kept the rain back until we were done.
Another time, they've seen that kind of thing happen a few times. They had outreach this very last time. It was supposed to rain Sabbath afternoon when they were going to go door to door, and the Lord holds the rain. And it's so amazing for our young people to see how powerful God is. At that one of the times, anyways, this is her with all of our interests. We went out offering the community Bible studies and Revelation seminars and cooking schools and all sorts of things, whatever the church wanted to offer. And so came back with 44 interests for all of those types of things in that community. So if you want more information, you can go to ayminfo.org. It has a tab there that you can push on the chapters, and you can see all the different chapters that they have around the country. And there is one in Ohio, not far from you, if you want to get involved. Holidays. We're going to talk about holidays. We've always had a burden. When my kids were little, I thought, okay, how can I specifically I was thinking of Christmas at first. How can I make this not about gifts, not about the worldly way of celebrating Christmas, but about serving others? And so, like he read in church, you saw this quote, when you have a holiday, make it a pleasant and happy day for your children and make it a pleasant day for the poor and the afflicted. Do not let the day pass without bringing thanksgiving and thank offerings for Jesus. And so the first holiday that started to change for us was Christmas. One of the very first things we did, you probably have all heard of an Advent calendar. You use this to count down to Christmas. And so most of the time, if you buy them in the store, they're little windows and you pull out a chocolate or some little toy. And I was like, that won't do. So I make them. And so you go up there, you pick one off on December 1, you pull off number 1, and it tells you something to do on ours. So it's either outreach, an act of kindness, serving in the community. It could be something fun for the holidays, like making cookies. But then another day it will say, share those cookies. So we just have had a lot of fun with this. And one of the things that we do, just all sorts of things. Live nativity, hot drinks to the bell ringer, taking a meal to someone, sharing Christmas glow tracts, poinsettias to people, just Christmas door drops secretly, just a lot of things to do. And one of the things we found out just, 2 or 3 years ago, we've done it twice, is that on December 8th is National Brownie Day. So that is always on our Advent calendar. December 8th is Celebrate National Brownie Day. We don't make brownies for people, though. We buy brownie boxes. Oh, and let me just say right here that this whole idea is not about a health message. I'm into health. I like health. I like to eat healthy. But what we're doing here is sharing small tokens of God's love in a tangible way with people. So we're not giving them a health message. So it's okay to share a box of brownies. So we would get boxes of brownies, tie them up with string. There's a glow track, which I don't attach health tracks at this point, just glow tracks about God's love, to the back of the card. And then we would go to all sorts of random people, and that's really the funnest, strangers, random people who we don't even know. So we've been to the fire station. I went through the drive-thru at the bank, and for the one that was big enough, I put it in there for them. My daughter, we were driving someplace, and we saw this man walking from his driveway. He was about to go over to his mailbox, and she's like, stop, I want to give him brownies. So I pulled over. She jumps out of the car and goes back to share with him, and at first he's like, what? So she shares with him again that it's National Brownie Day, and people are just tickled pink to have a box of brownies. A grandma who loves to eat brownies, and she said, my granddaughter loves to make brownies. We would go in parking lots, and they would knock on people's windows and share the brownies with them. It just makes a lot of people smile. Do you guys like brownies? Then it would make you smile too. This is Elijah and a friend passing out brownies. See, who could resist those smiles? So we told you about Christmas and what we did, so I won't spend a whole lot of time, but at first we were tying up homemade muffins and things like that. Now we go to just prepackaged things, granola bars, popcorn, apple cider packets, candy canes, things like that. This is us at a gas station singing We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And it's kind of neat how sometimes we'll run into people that we've already run into. One lady was like, I know you. You brought something at Thanksgiving time to someplace else where she was getting her nails done. So anyway, she said, God is giving me another chance. So you just never know who you're going to meet Here's the bags we showed you at church. One time we did a hospital in our very small community. We went in with 24 bags. We talked to the lady at the front desk. She was so thrilled about it. She's like, yes, come here. So she took us to the emergency room. And we got to walk through that little hospital, giving out all our bags, singing our Merry Christmas song. There were 24 people working that day, and we had 24 bags. Last Christmas, we didn't end. First, we went to where my husband's parents were living at an assisted living place, and we did the very same thing to all the people who were working on Christmas Day. Sang them a song, gave them a little goodie pack, and they enjoyed that. And then we were in Chattanooga on Christmas last year, and they have the Chattanooga Community Kitchen, and they feed 365 days a year. They feed 3 meals a day to the people in their area who need food. And so specifically around Thanksgiving and Christmas, they have sign-ups for volunteers to come and help, and I'd always wanted to do that with my children. And so since we were going to be there, we signed up to do that. And we got to interact like right with the people. We weren't even like removed from them. We got to talk with them, sit with them, interact with them. It was just such a fun time interacting. I mean, these people, I'm going to show you where they live in just a minute. That was me handing out drinks. This is one of the tent villages, tent towns, or tent cities, I guess, that they have in that area. There are a few right around in that area. And so these are the people who are coming to the Chattanooga Community Kitchen, needing food and needing hope and needing resources. They also teach them a lot of skills as well. And so, there are people all around us who need help. They might not be living in a tent, but some of them are. And they need something, whether it's help or direction or resources or hope. There are community services in our area who need help helping these people. And that's something that we can easily do. Say, hey, where can I be of service to you? What can I help with? And the holidays are a great time. So now we started with Christmas, and we're going to do a couple other things throughout the year. January is National Soup Month. So this is cool. You don't have to make soup. You can just go buy cans of soup, and people will just love you. Shut-ins, your neighbors, anybody. You're under the weather if you know somebody who's sick. And at the end, I'm going to share with you my ministry website. You can go there, and you can download a lot of the cards that I've showed you. You can just download them for free. So this one is there, and on the back, there's a QR code. So it takes you to my food blog, to the soup recipe part. So anyways, you can attach that, or you can just give them soup and tell them it's National Soup Month, which is kind of fun. January is also January 19, National Popcorn Day, which popcorn is one of my favorite foods in the whole wide world. So I like this. It's easy. You get the prepackaged popcorn. You put a little card on there. I have a new one, actually. It says popping by to say hi. And you can put it in a gift. You can just take it with a book, a coworker or a neighbor, anybody, and pop by with some popcorn for them. Now, in my opinion, Valentine's, everybody here should be celebrating Valentine's. Because what does it celebrate? Love. And who loves us more than anything else in this world? Jesus. So we should be sharing God's love on Valentine's. You can add these little glow track packs to some sort of treat, cookies or muffins or anything, and share them with somebody. This one is Easter. And I'm not into bunnies and eggs, but I do like to use the resources that are provided. So we got eggs, we put a little note in there, we put a little piece of candy, we went in and out, and we actually gave these not to kids, but to adults. And they just thought it was the coolest thing that they were getting candy on Easter as well. And hopefully they enjoyed the message that Jesus loves them. One of the last ladies that I talked to, she was just like, okay, so tell me, what is going on? Why are you doing this? And we just shared with them that we wanted people to know how much Jesus loved them. And she said, well, she didn't really say anything. She did at the end, but she was just really moved to tears. And she's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to do a random act of kindness. I'm going to pass this kindness, I think she said, along to somebody else. So people, their reactions are so varied, but so many people are just so thankful that you stopped by and that you thought of them. This one is great for 4th of July. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. You can, 4th of July, there's people everywhere in masses. So you can really get a lot of people if you have things already put together. We've packaged that up in door hanger bags with a great controversy as well and handed those out. This one is for Halloween. I don't celebrate Halloween really. I do in the fact that I like to share Jesus. These, one time, not when people were going, the kids were out going door to door, but we put these bags together. It's no trick. Jesus is a real treat, or the sweetest treat. And we went door to door giving these to people. If they weren't home, we would hang them on their doors. That was what's inside. This is a great time to talk about the dead and all the stuff like that, because that's pretty much what they're celebrating, all sorts of things like that. But if you're in a place where people come to your door and they're knocking and trick-or-treating, you don't have to do this, of course, but if you're so inclined to give people something, I'm like all about it. I didn't when my kids were little. I wanted to shelter them from all the things that they might see. And now we don't live in a place where we can do it. But if you're in a place where people are coming to you, what better than to have something prepared for them? And this is how to stop being scared, and it has the bouncy balls in it. And kids really enjoy that one. This is another one if you want to give candy. It's so sweet to trust in Jesus. And then this is Thanksgiving, and we love Thanksgiving. This was one of the most memorable Thanksgivings. We had 2 churches at that time, and we let people know, anybody in our churches, that they needed a place to go for Thanksgiving, if they wanted a place to go. They were all invited to our home, and I guess you could be a little scared about that. You never know who you'll get, but or how many, I guess, that you'll get. But we had the nicest group. It was such an eclectic group. The man on the end was on asylum from some country in Africa. And then we had some non-Adventist spouses that came, and just a whole variety of people. It was so fun. We played games afterwards, and even my kids will tell you, it was one of the most memorable Thanksgivings that we've had. So we've done it another time or 2 since then, and it's just a fun time to gather together with a variety of people thanking the Lord for his mercies. And then birthdays. Not too much longer. So birthdays are another occasion that I was trying to wrap my mind around how to make them other-centered instead of me, and all the gifts. I'm not opposed to birthday parties, but I've never thought that my kids needed 10 extra gifts on a birthday. So I read this. On birthday occasions, the children should be taught that they have reason for gratitude to God for his loving kindness in preserving their lives for another year. Precious lessons might thus be given for life, health, food, and clothing, no less than for the hope of eternal life. We are indebted to the giver of all mercies, and it is due to God to recognize his gifts and to present our offerings of gratitude to our greatest benefactors. These birthday gifts are recognized in heaven. So we started to do birthdays differently in our home. It started with my daughter's 10th birthday, and what we did there, they all loved so much that we did it again when my son turned 10 and then Elijah's 7. So what we did is we invited a few friends to come and celebrate with them, but they said instead of bringing birthday gifts for us, please bring gifts for the animal shelter. And so then we took all of our gifts down to the animal shelter. The animal shelter gave us a tour all around their facilities. They got to play with the dogs and the cats, and they had an amazing time. They could never tell you what they received on their birthday that year, but they can tell you what they did. And I didn't end up going home with an animal. So it was successful. It was good. All right, Elijah's going to tell you about his 13th birthday that started with these bags and envelopes.
So, on my 13th birthday, my parents did something fun. With each gift that I got an envelope that and each envelope had a Bible verse about giving and told me something I could do for others. One envelope said call a grandparent and pray with them. One said to make a card for an elderly person. One said to make and share cupcakes with at least 13 people. I ended up delivering 16 cupcakes. 2 of them were to total strangers at the gas station. At first, they looked at me funny and confused, because who goes around handing out cupcakes? When they accepted the cupcake, they were surprised and happy. It was very fun.
And then the 4th one he didn't tell you about was, it just said, you choose. So he got to choose whatever he wanted to do as an act of giving or service. And so my heart was touched, because this was the time when Ukraine and Russia were at war. And so he chose to donate all the money that it received for his birthday to ADRA so that it could go and help the people in the Ukraine. And so that right there was like, it was kind of this little confirmation. Thank you, Lord. It's working. My children are learning to serve and to think of others. Another time, Kaylee had her 12th birthday party, I think. She asked people, instead of bringing gifts, just bring money, donations to ADRA. And I don't know if my kids are strange or what, but they love to look through those ADRA catalogs and pick out goats for this family or school supplies for this family. Anyways, you can look through the ADRA catalog and decide what you want to do for people around the world. And so with the money that was donated, she got to donate some things to people around the world. So lest you think that birthday parties are just, or birthday celebrations are just for children, they're not. And so when I turned 42, we gave away 42 different things. Non-perishable food items, toiletries, homemade jars of soup, poinsettias. My birthday's in December, which is, I like it, because December is just a wonderful time where everyone is in the mood to give and receive and take, and it's wonderful. So one of the things I remember the most from this birthday endeavor was these Dairy Queen cards. They were just $5 little gift cards, and I had 4 of them, and I was going to go out and give them to random people. I had no idea who I was going to give them to. But the one that stands out the most in my mind was this young lady, young mom of 2 kids. She was in the parking lot of a low-income housing development, apartment, and she was strapping her kids in the back of her car. And on our way in to see someone else, I stopped to give her this small gift, and she just beamed. She saw what it was, and she gave me a huge hug, and she just like, God bless you. When you think of others, people are so touched. The last girl that I gave one to was at a gas station. She was the clerk. She's like, you literally made my day. And so it's just fun, and I just hope that this experience planted a seed for God's kingdom. My last birthday, do you guys like birthdays? You should like birthdays because otherwise you're dead. So you should all be celebrating your birthdays. Be thrilled to turn another year older, no matter how old you are. I turned 46 last December, and so my plan that year was that I made 46 of these. Celebrate. It's my birthday, so I would just walk up to people and say, I'm celebrating my birthday. Here's a small gift for you. And I can't tell you how happy it made people. You guys, I did it actually for a whole weekend. And here's one. The responses truly were amazing. It was amazing. We went to the post office. We handed them out there. Incredible smiles, great conversations, unforgettable responses. Seeing someone's countenance change from just kind of sour and businesslike to happy and cheerful by the time that we left. Sharing with somebody who had gotten brownies from us earlier in the week, and we ran across them again. We just made connections. My heart was so full. You guys, you should see people's responses when you just hand them these simple little gifts. And chocolate doesn't help either. I mean, it does help. They loved it. So anyways, it was amazing. This lady we've known, and we've run into her. She used to work at the library, so we have contact with her every now and again. And she was just thrilled that we came in to see her. This is the last thing I'm going to say about birthdays. We had a social at one of our churches once, and it was supposed to be a birthday celebration social, and so they had different tables. All the January people were supposed to be here, February people, March, April, May, and so they were going to do regular birthday party things, and I was like, hey, why don't I shared this quote with them, and I'm like, hey, can we do something for someone else? And so the idea that we came up with is to take a collection, and the collection was just as a thank you to the Lord for the years of life that He's given us. And so at the end of that birthday social that we had at the church, all together as a group, we decided what we were going to do with that money. And it was a huge blessing because they decided on a family whose wife was going through cancer and treatments and all of that. And so we got all sorts of things to make their life easier. We gave them some money. We gave them paper plates and laundry pods and food and all sorts of things just to make their life a little bit simpler. And so It was such a blessing to be able to do that. And I just have to tell you, Ellen White, talks about children, teaching children to give back thank offerings to the Lord for the mercies that they've received throughout the year. How much more important that we as adults use our birthdays to thank the Lord and to celebrate the life and the blessings that He's given to us. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is appreciation. Saying thank you is so important. Ministry of Healing says, nothing tends more to promote health of body and soul than does a spirit of gratitude and praise. I always tell my children, say thank you, say thank you. It's so important that we're thankful and that people know that we appreciate them. I know that your pastor understands this, and I know that any of you that work with people understand that we are a people who are so quick to complain, right? We notice the negative, but we need to be a people who are quick to praise, to appreciate, to say thank you. So this is one of my favorite thank yous to have. Now, it doesn't work in August because, well, you just can't leave it in your car in August, let's say that, because the Andes mints will melt. But thank you for your commitment, and it says to serving your community. So you can give this out anywhere, whether you go to the grocery store or the laundromat, your kid's piano teacher or gymnastics teacher. It could be anywhere, your mail person, your bank teller. One day we gave it to the ladies who taught swimming lessons to the kids. And this one lady in particular, I will always remember because she gave me a big hug and she said, "No one ever thanks me." And there are so many people in our community who have jobs like that. They work hard, they do their best, they do what they need to do, but people don't say thank you. We just take things for granted because maybe we're paying for something or maybe we just don't think about it. But people need to be appreciated. This was another really fun one. We did it when we had a porch overhang. We set up this little basket with snacks and then GlowTrack packs for any delivery driver that came by. And so the kids got this all ready. There's a little note on it that says, "Thank you so much," because it was during the Christmas season when they work extra hard. And so we had these on the porch, and the kids were so excited to wait for the first delivery person. And so when the first delivery person came, I don't know which kid it was, but they're like, they're here. And so they run to the kitchen so that they can duck down and peek out the window with the blinds. And so the man walked up, and he kind of does this double take. He's walking, he sees it, he puts the package down, he's like, whoa. And we talked to him later. He just really appreciated being, thank you. And during the holiday season, they work late. So the snacks came in handy as well. And he thought that was awesome. We give to our doctors, to our dentists, to people that serve us. This was just letting people know how thankful we are, that they serve our family. We're thankful for what you do. That was at Christmas time as well. We've left goodie bags on our garbage can for the garbage men, and they pick those up. They don't end up in the garbage, and they are thankful for those as well. We leave treats all the time for the mail person who comes by. And then even though I homeschool, the kids take different classes on occasion in the community or different places. And so this one was cookies at the end of a school year, and it says, "Thank you for making me one smart cookie." They like that. This is just a small little gift. At Christmas time, I like to have small little things around just in case I need to have a gift for someone or say thank you. So these are little Bath & Body Works soap that I got on sale. And one day David was going to the conference office, and the thought came into my mind, just send a little gift, a thank you gift to the lady who works at the front desk. And I didn't really know her, but I knew who she was. And so I sent that gift, and she was just really, really touched and sent me a note saying so. She said that the gesture inspired her to think outside of the box when it comes to loving people and appreciate people. Life is really about people, and so we need to love them. And that's what it is, thinking outside the box. The last thing that I want to leave you with is that we really need to be intentional about sharing Jesus. I was going out to visit, my daughter just finished her first year of college. She's going to Weimar University out in California. And I went out to visit her last March, and so I hear all these great stories about people who have divine appointments on airplanes, and I thought it'd be so cool, Lord, if I could have a divine appointment. So if you're going to pray for divine appointments, you should be ready for them. So I put all these things together. I had all these health tracks. I needed thin, small things because I just had my backpack on the plane. And so I made all this stuff, and I put it into my bag, and I was ready to share with people about health, family values, and Jesus' love. And on my way back home, I did have a couple of little small experiences, but on my way back home, I was reading this small book right here, Darkness Before Dawn, and it's an excerpt. I think it's the last 10 chapters of the Great Controversy. And so I was reading this. I happened to be in the chapter that had a picture of Jesus coming back to get us. And it was full of angels, and it caught the attention of one of the flight attendants as she was serving drinks. She said, "Are you reading about angels?" I told her that I was, and I shared a little bit about the book. She was intrigued that it talked about how Jesus was going to come back and what the second coming was going to be like based on what the Bible said. So we talked a little bit about her background and how she lost her mom, who was really the one who had this love for angels, and how she believes that the problems in this world are not just politics gone awry, but that we really are seeing the fight between good and evil. But her husband thinks that she's possibly headed down the wrong path. So she was so precious. She knelt down, because here she's supposed to be serving drinks to people, but she's kind of stopped to talk to me, so she kind of knelt down and she was whispering, and she said to me, "Where can I get that book?" So I said, "Well, I brought one. I have an extra one just for you." And so I said, "I know you're working right now, so when you're all done sharing drinks and you're back in the back, I'll bring one to you." And she said, "Okay, but don't forget." So later on the flight, I was able to go back in the back and talk with her and another one of the flight attendants. So I took those "Thank you for serving your community" mints back to all of them, and I took her this book as well as a few other things. And we just had a really nice talking about health, about spiritual things, and she was so thankful to have that. And I was so thankful that I had prepared and that I had been intentional about wanting to share Jesus. Because when someone asks me for something, sometimes we're not going to have it with us, and that's okay. We can get it to them. But I was so glad that I had prepared and that I was ready. Because there are people, precious people, everywhere, in your neighborhoods, in your communities, in the stores you shop at, in your workplaces, who want to know Jesus. So we need to plan, and we need to be ready to spread the hope and Jesus' love that he brings into our lives. Jesus is coming soon, and we have been called. We're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness and into his marvelous light. Just like Israel of old, we are called to be a force of attraction so that the world will see God's love. Our whole goal is to let our lights so shine before men that they may see our good works and glorify our Father which is in heaven. Jesus says, Go therefore and make disciples. That means that you, not just your pastor, not just Bible workers, every Christian is called to be a witness to the world around them, to be a light, to be a blessing, to serve, to help others, to teach, to love the world so that the world will know our Father's love. And this is how we can change our world. So I just want to challenge you. This might seem like a lot. This is from the last 13 years of my life. But you don't have to start big. You can start small. If you have a birthday coming up, what little thing can you do for somebody else on your birthday? Or a holiday that's coming up. It doesn't matter what it is. Or maybe you just want to get to know a neighbor and you go and take them a loaf of bread. You can even buy it from the store. It doesn't have to be big. But we each need to be doing something to reach the world with God's love. And so I hope that you will do that. This is my ministry, the top. So when I first started this, let's start at the bottom actually, biblelabs.blogspot.com. That's where a long time ago I thought, Lord, if you're going to keep giving me these ideas, I need to save them. So that is where you'll find lots and lots of pictures and stories, some of the ones you heard here. At the top, just a few years ago, I started this ministry, findingjoyforeternity.com. You can go there, you can find lots of these cards, the little glow pack cards and other things that you've heard about today. You can find those, you can download those for free. You can also purchase things, but you don't have to. It's all there so that it is easy for you to use. You can get the little bags on Amazon. You can get the glow tracks, ask your church, but glowcentral.com, com or org? Glow Central. Google Glow Central. And you can get them. But your church has lots of glow tracks, so you don't have to be without them. Anyways, they're just simple and fun ways, and I hope that you've seen something here that will help you be a missionary and that you will enjoy doing it. Before we're done, I have 3 gifts I want to give away. Do we have little pieces of paper? So I guess we should have done this in the beginning, but that's okay. I need everybody who wants to be in a drawing for 3 gifts, to put your name on a piece of paper, and then we will put it in a basket or a bag or something, and we will get you some resources. So in one of these bags, we're waiting for them, that's okay. Yeah, no problem. In one of these bags, there's a variety of glow track packs that have already been put together. In another one, there is enough to put together 25 of the clothespin glow tracks, and there's also a little script in there of what we said, so you can put those together. And then this one is specifically for ladies, so when we draw a lady's name. It's a Busy Life Survival Kit, and there's 3 of them, and it's really just a gift to give to a friend, a neighbor, the Busy Life Survival Kit. There's scripture cards inside. It says to pull out when you have a second, a bag of trail mix to remind you that God is nuts about you, sanitizer wipes to clean up messes on the go, and Band-Aids to remind you that God can heal every hurt. So it's something that all of these are for the purpose of sharing and giving away. So it doesn't matter how old you are. Sure. Oh, thank you. That's a great idea.
Walk through that if you don't mind.
Sure. Okay, so both of these tables have things on them. Elijah, bring me that basket, first of all. On that table, I want to show you, this is the only thing that is to give away. You are welcome. I have a huge variety of glow track packs. This one, Jesus loves you very much. Jesus is the sweetest gift ever. You were meant to have hope. There's all sorts of glow track packs. You guys are welcome to take 1 or 2, maybe, if there's enough, so that you can share these with your community. These are samples just for you to look at or to take and use. So those are for you to take. Everything else is just a sample of things that we have done to give you ideas. So here you'll find all sorts of glow track packs. This is the Busy Life Survival Kit, a Ministry Wives Survival Kit, just different little kits that we've put together. There's a spoon over there that stir up some fun. Now this board, this is another thing. This is less dishes to do, happy Sabbath to you. And we took it to an elderly couple who was, the lady had cancer. So we took some food along with plates and plasticware. This is a sample of the Advent calendar that I put together, and I had some friends that so wanted to do it too, so I actually sell them on my website. But this is just some of the things. There's a lot of other paper and instructions and ideas that go with it, but that's kind of the setup. We put it on our wall every December, and then we go through it that way, pulling the numbers off of the wall. But so there's lots of things to look at here. There's a few more things to look at over there. There's door hanger bags that we've put together, some gifts that we've tied up with string and little tags. So lots of different ideas. You can take all the pictures that you want. Just don't take anything with you except for the basket of glow tracks. You can take a glow track pack. Yeah, you can take 1 glow track pack, or 2 if there's extra. So once you have your name, put your name on that little piece of paper. We need a bag or a basket. Here's what we'll do. Yeah, collect all the names. We're going to take these out for the moment. We'll do it last, and then I'll put them back in. We'll put all the names in here, and then we're going to draw 3 names. I do print my cards all at home. We have a color printer, which helps. So yeah, we are able to do it at home. That's why I know that some people don't have that capability, so that's why I do sell them also, and can ship them to people. But if you have a printer, you can do it all at home. So yeah, They're very simple. They're nothing glamorous. Now, my son, he's very, not this one. Well, he does some too, but Dylan has good design skills, so he's helped me make some of the ones that look a little bit even fancier. But they don't have to be fancy, just simple and catchy and fun. Well, all right. Everybody have their name in there that wants a chance to win? One more. Do you all have, you need one? Okay. Before I actually met him in person, I thought it was Okie. So in my head, I'm calling him Okie. To my family, I was calling him Okie. I found out it's okay. Okay. I like it. Nancy, I had that right off the bat. All right, let's see. Pick one of those bags. Which one will it be first? Okay. That one's the variety? Oh, they're already put together? Okay, I don't know how many there are, but they're already put together as a variety of GlowTrack packs. You read it. I'm sorry. Zaria. Oh, yay. Awesome. I love it. All right, this one has 25 clothespins, 25 bags, 25 GlowTrack packs, or 25 GlowTracks, and whatever I didn't mention. It has all the supplies you need to put 25 things together. And you can have a little party. Let's see if I can. Andre? Yay! Look at these. This is a sign. The young people are getting these, guys. This is a sign. This is great. Okay, now, here's the one parameter on this one. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be. Never mind. I'm not putting any parameters. Whoever gets it, gets it. I pray about this. That's right. If a man gets it, because usually, I don't know, I found men don't really like to give that. It's a busy life. I don't know if all of you heard it. It's something of encouragement. Probably a lady would like it better than a man. So, okay. Aliyah, Aliyah. Look at this. Okay. Youth, you know what the Lord is telling you? It's time to get busy. God has a work for our youth to do. I can't tell you, having my kids involved in the canvassing, they've done this type of thing with me their whole lives. And it's amazing. Young people need a work to do, and young people can reach people like us old people can't. So I hope and pray that you will put those to good use. And I just thank you for coming. You're welcome to look at all of these things up here. You're welcome to take a sample GlowTrack pack over here on your right side. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a blessing. Here. Pick those up. Do you want to put them in this bag? Oh, should I? I could pray. Or do you want to pray? Come right up. How about that?
We just want to thank Sister Amy again for. Thank you. Just want to thank Sister Amy again for taking the time out to come and share with us on different ways that we can witness. We are grateful that the Lord brought you here safely. We are praying that He will take you back safely, and that we are impacted and changed and impressed on how to do new and different ways. And can we give God a praise and thank Amy for sharing with us? And so, sure, if you would love to pray to close us out, please go ahead.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much that you are willing to use us to share your love with others. Father, I pray that you will give each one of us ideas. Help us to use our talents for the Lord, for you, for sharing you with others. Lord, go with us now. Just walk with each one of us, Lord. Give us opportunities to share your love. And just thank you so much that we can work with you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.